doing today? Do you hate any subjects or have difficulty with few topics, and are you not scoring good enough and it is giving you stress and you are worried about it? In this video, we'll give you the insights on how to deal with difficult subjects. First thing, let's understand why you find it difficult to learn a particular subject. Is it something that it has to do with you or it has to do with the subject? To understand that, ask yourself, among your classmates or your friends, how many of them have the same opinion? How many of them are good at that subject? If at least 50% of them are comfortable with that subject, then it is not the challenge with the subject at all. And if more than 50% of them have the challenge with the same subject, then there is a possibility that the subject might be little difficult. But look at it this way. No matter what subjects we find difficult, there are always some people who are scoring good. If the subject is difficult, then how are they scoring marks in that subject? I remember the days when I was in my intermediate, I was not able to score good marks in chemistry. I was just able to get pass marks. It actually impacted my overall percentage. Whereas I used to score really well in physics and mathematics. And some of my friends used to struggle with physics and score really well in chemistry. I used to ask them, how are they able to score well in chemistry? They used to tell me that is quite easy and simple. And they used to ask the same question for physics. And I used to tell them the same answer. So what is the issue here? Is there something to do with physics or chemistry or our overall chemistry with the subject? Let us see few reasons why we might feel difficulty in learning some subjects. The first aspect is intelligence. A lot of people who fail in some subjects think that they either do not have the required IQ or they are not capable. Before modern science evolved, scientists believed that we are born with fixed intelligence and we cannot change much, and brain development stops growing after a period of time. Based on a lot of research and case studies, it is proved that what people achieve has very little to do with the intelligence they are born with. Alfred Binet, the inventor of IQ tests, quoted in his book Modern Ideas of Children, with practice, training and above all method, we manage to increase our attention, our memory, our judgment and literally to become more intelligent than we were before. So, if you are failing in some subjects, it doesn't mean that you are not intelligent enough or lack of IQ. Get this aspect very clear. It just means that you need to do more practice and preparation. For some people, they might have to spend more time than the others. The next aspect is foundation. Our brain consists of two hemispheres, right and left. When you use the left or logical side, you are being analytical, attentive, objective and rational. This is the part you use to process language, facts, science, math and strategies. The right side, however, is driven by feelings, beliefs, imagination and subjective thinking. It is creative, impulsive, intuitive, thoughtful and processes visual and multitask. The brain, which works on the use it or lose it principle, is like a muscle. The more you use it, the better it gets. Based on what activities you performed in your upbringing, you will be either left brain or right brain, which means you have certain strengths and weaknesses, which makes it important that we improve the less dominant side. Suppose, based on your upbringing, if you are exposed to activities that activate the right side of the brain and you haven't been exposed to the activities that activate the left side of the brain, you will have weaknesses in learning languages or doing maths problems or weak in science. Again, it doesn't mean that you don't have the ability. It is just that some part of the brain is not active and you need to do those activities which will activate that part of the brain. Don't worry, we will come up with a certain video on how to activate both sides of the brain. Our belief or association with the subject. Our mind is actually a meaning making machine. It constantly evaluates what is happening around us and forms opinions and beliefs. With similar instances, our beliefs on those aspects will strengthen. Let me tell you about research done on monkeys. An experimenter puts 5 monkeys in a large cage. High at the top of the cage, Well beyond the reach of the monkeys is a bunch of bananas. Underneath the bananas is a ladder. The monkeys immediately spot the bananas and one begins to climb the ladder. As he does, however, the experimenter sprays him with a stream of cold water. Then he proceeds to spray on each of the other monkeys. The monkey on the ladder scrambles off and all five sit for a time on the floor, wet, cold and bewildered. After some time, the temptation of the bananas is too great and another monkey begins to climb the ladder. Again the experimenter sprays the ambitious monkey with cold water and all the other monkeys as well. When the third monkey tries to climb the ladder, the other monkeys, wanting to avoid the cold spray, pull him off the ladder and beat him. Now, one monkey is removed and new monkey is introduced to the cage. Spotting the bananas, he begins to climb the ladder. The other monkeys pull him off and beat him. Here's where it gets interesting. The experimenter removes a second one of the original monkeys from the cage and replaces him with a new monkey. Again, the new monkey begins to climb the ladder and again the other monkeys pull him off and beat him, including the monkey who had never been sprayed. Like this, they replace all the monkeys and by the end of the experiment, none of the original monkeys were left, and yet despite none of them ever experiencing the cold, wet spray, they had all learned never to try and go for the bananas. Similarly, we also form opinions and beliefs based on what we experience on various aspects. It may not necessarily be a reality, just like how monkeys created a belief. We create our own beliefs. This is mostly an unconscious process and our brain keeps recording the instances and keeps altering the beliefs and shapes our personalities. It is not just about the subjects that we find it difficult to deal with. This applies to all the aspects of life. For example, you would have noticed that you dislike some food items. Your choice of colors are different to others. Your association with people are different to others. Let's continue with the example of choices of food. Let's say you dislike milk or curd, or few vegetables or some non-vegetarian items. Have you ever thought about it as to why you dislike these items? Why is that other people relish it while you don't like to eat it? During your childhood, some instances would have happened when somebody told you that you don't like milk or curd, and then if that sentence is repeated a number of times, then it is converted into a belief that it is true and your body responds to what you actually believe in. Similarly, if you do not like a teacher who taught you mathematics, or you initially found it inconvenient to solve some problems, and someone might have told you that you are not good at it, you started resisting it and it became a belief. Don't worry, there are ways to handle it. For that, one must have an open mind and do what it takes to achieve that change. Let's look at how can we deal with subjects we don't like or that are difficult. First aspect is change the perspective. There are few topics that you don't like or you find it difficult to learn. And when you know that it is important to learn because it is part of the recruitment process, and if you don't learn the topic, you also know that it will impact your overall performance, then you try to learn the topic with the fear of failing in the test or with disinterest. There is no joy of learning in this process. Most of the things that we do in our life are either to avoid pain or to seek pleasure. The pain-pleasure principle developed by Sigmund Freud, who is the founder of psychoanalysis, suggests that people make choices to avoid or decrease pain or to make choices that create or increase pleasure. The pain-pleasure principle lies at the core of everything you do and of everything you are. Your beliefs, values, and psychological rules all are built upon this principle. The decision you make, the actions you take, and the habits you indulge in are all based on this principle. So, the alternative for this situation is seeking pleasure while you learn these topics. Pleasure seekers can be motivated if they perceive that they are making a good investment, they have growth opportunities, or if they feel good about themselves. If you are motivated by pain, then your actions are inadequate, but if you are motivated by pleasure, this can be a driving force. So, what you need to do? Change your perception towards the topics. Learn the topics for the joy of learning, or imagine that these topics will help you in starting your career, or start putting some rewards, like after you read 2 pages you will eat a chocolate, or you do something that you love and gives you pleasure. You have to associate the learning with something that gives you pleasure. In this process, your brain will treat that your pleasure is generated because of learning. This process of changing your approach from pain to pleasure might not be easy to implement initially, but if you try it enough, you can make it. Next aspect is approach the questionnaire technique. Before you start learning about a subject or a topic, take a moment and think about what questions come to your mind about this topic. For example, let's say you have to learn geometry. You could ask questions like, what is geometry? Why it is required? Where it is used? What was the need for which geometry was invented? How will it help me? How to learn faster, etc. Then you can Google and find the answers for these questions. This way you can generate more clarity, learn faster, and you will also increase your grasping power. The next aspect is learn as if you were to teach. This is an interesting idea. Whenever we learn with an objective. It could be to know about something out of curiosity, or to just get passing marks, or to gain expertise on the subject or improve the skill. Your overall learning depends on what is your objective with which you are learning. And if your objective is to teach others, then the learning is way better than the other objectives. Because for someone to teach a subject, they really need to get into the depth of it. So you can choose a couple of your friends or your juniors who you want to teach and learn with the objective of teaching. You will observe more and it becomes interesting. You will feel a lot of pride in learning because you are making others learn through your learning. If you follow the steps given in this video, you can definitely be able to learn difficult subjects easily. Wish you all the best and see you soon in another video.